So today I'm sharing a story about my outer body experience. I'm gonna share this because I'm sure there's other people who have had extremely spiritual experiences, and I want to share this to those who can relate. And if not them, hopefully this video finds you after you've had an experience that you can't fully articulate, and it can add some clarity to what just happened to you. So last week, I'm walking down the street, going to the store to get my girlfriend some flowers for Valentine's Day. And I'm with our golden doodle, Astro, the super dog. And everyone always goes crazy when I'm with Astro. They love him, especially the women. So I'm walking down the street and I'm feeling so good. I'm just in such a grateful space. People are honking their horns, saying, "Oh, we love your dog. Your dog's so cute." And I'm just kind of thanking God for the day and, sending my gratitude to the universe, right? And I go to the store, I get the flowers, Elderly ladies are stopping me and telling me I'm so romantic and keep this up. This is great for a long-term marriage and that I'm a good man. Another elderly lady stops me. She's telling me that she loves my dog and her dog saved her life when she was having a stroke and let her neighbors know to come find her, and that's how her life was saved. And I'm like, okay, beautiful. You have a great rest of the day. So I'm getting the flowers, I'm walking out, I'm walking down the street, and the energy is just really good. Like my heart feels really light, full of joy, extremely pure. I'm just grateful for life. Even the parts of my life that aren't perfect, I'm just being grateful for them and grateful for the journeys to learn and grow. And next thing you know, I'm walking across the street with my dog, and I can't make this up. I'm extremely embarrassed to even share this story. I feel like some people are gonna think I'm crazy, but I start floating out of myself. Like imagine crossing like an intersection, not too busy, but you're just feeling good and your consciousness or soul like kind of floats out of your body. And I couldn't tell what just happened. I felt so good though, so at peace, so vibrant. I felt like all my worries kind of started disappearing, and I was just like, oh, I feel so good. And I kind of looked down at my body. I wasn't like over it looking down. I was kind of like grazed out of it, and I kind of just kind of panicked. I kind of was like, what is this? And I freaked out and kind of like sunk back into myself, right? So I get back to my place. I set the flowers on the table, and a rush of events happened to where it kind of slipped my mind. My girl walked in the house. She was, "Oh, I love the flowers," or "I appreciate it, thanks for the flowers and candles and the notes." And I had spelled Valentine with a question mark with the flower petals. So she's going crazy, right? Excited. And then a buddy calls me about his relationship. Him and his girl had just broken up, and we're talking. I'm sharing advice and wisdom that I've gotten from mentors, and it just kind of slips my mind. So the very next day, which was a few days ago, I'm sitting home alone. I'm back into that gratitude state. Mind you, I had been meditating on more authenticity in my life, expressing myself more authentically, being around people who are just authentic and just being on the same energy wave or frequency of very real, authentic people who are true to themselves, so I can build long-term relationships with just people I want to grow old with. So I have been meditating on that and telling God that I'm willing to give up or transcend or outgrow anything that's not in alignment with that. Anything that could be keeping me from anything subconsciously that maybe I don't even see could be blocking me from levels of prosperity that I've been working toward, praying for, and aligning myself with. So I'm listening to a song that I made for my girl. I'm like, this song feels so good. I'm grateful to have a partner that has her head on straight, that's beautiful, that makes life fun, that has a growth mindset, that does positive things and retreats for other women, and that I know would be a good mother for my children, right? So I'm just grateful in the moment. And I'm feeling good, right? And my thoughts start going up really high. Like I'm feeling so good. I'm not gonna lie, the first time was just me completely regular. The second time this morning I had smoked a little bit of Blue Dream Sativa, which is a medical marijuana strain that I like. If you research it, it's designed to uplift creativity, keep you more focused, and create more euphoric feelings, right? I smoke a little bit of sativa only weed sometimes just because it's a strain that can help me focus my thoughts and tap into more of a relief state with less tension so my ideas can flow. I can just allow my energy to flow better so I can create and be more present in the moment with my partner and my clients on my calls. And so anyway, I'm used to having a little bit of high. I don't get like no crazy high or nothing to where nothing crazy ever happened. I'm just usually pretty zen, right? So I'm thinking like, am I just like really high on this? So I was like, I'm feeling so good, and I had this almost eruption feeling in my heart, and pressure in my head started to rise up, and it felt like everything just kind of like exploded a little bit. Pretty much like the Doctor Strange movie when the lady pushes him into his astral form, or his astral body came out of his body. That's what it felt like. And I immediately feel uncontrollable joy, peace, harmony, any thoughts that I have, like family stuff, friend stuff, any worries I had were completely gone. And I only felt the energy of love radiating from my fingertips, my toes. I got all these downloads of thoughts that I knew were no longer my 3D thoughts. I don't even know how to explain it. I'm trying my best, but my small earthly thoughts, they were like a thought stream from a higher source. And it was just kind of showing me different things about life and telling me like really deep truths. And it was very hard for me to see other beings as anything less than the way that I feel God or our creator sees them. I just saw people as like different spirits, like just in different parts in their journey, just trying to find their way back to love and freedom to express themselves and to love themselves, just like when you're a young child, you know? And I just remember I felt so good. I felt so free that I started crying. So I was just like, okay, I know I'm not tripping. Something is happening. And I looked down in my body, and I immediately knew like, oh, I'm a spiritual being having an experience through this vessel. Like my human body is like the vehicle. You know, when you get in your car, you're aware that you are getting in the car and then you drive in the car. I knew that I was a soul or an essence that is fueling this vehicle, this body. And I felt like this was a source that creative ideas come from, intuitive hunches. Like this is the source that is talking to you and guiding your life, you know? So I break down crying, and I don't know why I'm crying because I feel so good, but I'm not used to being detached from what I perceive to be myself, you know? And I call my mother. I get my mother on the phone. She's telling me, well, why are you crying? I was like, I just kind of freaked out a little bit. I'm like, what is happening? And she's just like, oh, you know, shit, that's happened to me before plenty of times. And I'm not even going to go in too deep into what she said because it sounded like some way out there stuff, you know. And I was the type of person that had heard about this kind of stuff, but I was like, I believe it, but, you know, I wasn't looking for it. So I wasn't expecting nothing like that to really happen to me, at least this early in my life. But she tells me that it happens to her, it happens to my uncle, my grandfather, and they all talk about it, been talking about it for years. So I'm like, no way, so yeah, you should call him. Maybe your uncle, you can invite him in one of your men's groups that like a few friends and I host of entrepreneurial men, like growing and working on themselves and relationships. And so maybe he can kind of explain to you guys what just happened, you know, or what's going on. So I was like, okay. So my girl walks in the house. I literally run outside because I'm like feeling like I'm floating out of myself. And I'm not even used to myself being in this state. And she walks in the house. My brain, I was like, how am I going to explain myself right now? So I go outside, finish talking to my mother, kind of like meditated a bit, settled in that space. And I haven't felt the same since. I have felt more just tapped in to like, I don't know what to call it, a higher level of life or how we originally actually are, our deep truths in what we really know in our soul. But just seeing life from more of that standpoint. It just creates more grace for other people, more compassion. You know, I'm able to listen to my inner voice like more because I'm like, I know that's guiding me and I can really trust that. And yeah, so I tell my friends in my men's group, I was low key like a little embarrassed because I was like, y'all gonna think I'm crazy. One of the guys, my buddy Rich, great man, really big in the real estate space. He tells me it happened before in his sleep though. It never happened while he was awake. So he was asking me what I was meditating on and we were sharing different experiences. And I was just like, okay, that's really interesting. Like, okay, I'm not the only one. I'm not tripping, you know. So I go to sleep that night, and in my sleep I have this what I thought was a dream, but I'm like exiting my body and floating over the city and stuff. And then mid-dream, I realized that, oh no, I'm controlling this. So I'm really doing this. And I was just like, wait, what? So I literally felt like, oh wait, what if I'm getting too far away from my body? And I wake up, but I can't move my body. So I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like, oh, let me rush back to my body. So I was like in two worlds. Like I was like coming back and settling in my body, and I was also awake, but I couldn't move my body. I researched this, and some people call it sleep paralysis. I don't know. I had never really looked too deep into this stuff. So I wake up, and I was like, what in the world? So I end up calling my grandfather and my uncle. My grandfather tells me his story. He said that first happened to him when he was 19. He said he was driving his car, and he literally just floated out of himself and kind of was like, all right, well, this is real different. He's like, I knew how I felt. I knew this wasn't normal. And he's like, but I was also like driving, so I didn't want to freak out or nothing. And he just told me he kind of settled back into himself and was like, all right, like, what was that? Let me tap in with myself more. He said it also happened to him when he was young, and his friends pushed him on a swing, and he flipped out of it and landed on his back and came out of himself and saw him laying there knocked out, and his friends trying to wake him up. And he came back and kind of told them what he just experienced. They didn't believe him. My uncle told me a story that he arrived to work early one time, about an hour early, so he slept in his car, like at the Starbucks until he went to work. And he said the same thing, and his body came out, started floating around, and he said, and then he kind of was like, wait, I can't move my body, and he came back to his body and woke up and was like, what was that? So he told me, don't worry about it, send me a few videos on people who have really tapped a lot further along that journey than I have. But it was very, very mind-blowing, and I know the state of the world is changing. A lot of people are able to educate themselves on business, finance, spiritual. There's so much information you can learn out there. A lot of us are updating our mind at a faster rate than ever. A lot of lies are being exposed out there, so it's making people look for truth, and a lot of the truth comes when you look, further within yourself. And yeah, so I called a few of my buddies, and I'm just telling them, like, lately, man, I just been feeling like an essence, like I can't explain. Like when I go outside, like I'm consciously aware that I'm in my body, and I'm grateful for the leaves and the trees and the abundance and all shapes and forms, abundance of people, abundance of opportunities, abundance of things to be grateful for. And I feel like everything is alive, like flowers, the sun, everything just connected, giving life to us. And when I stand next to certain people, I can just feel their essence. And I know that's the same creator that I'm from, that we're all from, breathing and living through them. And I get to feel how they feel, or what that is, living through their vessel. It also helped me eliminate the fear of dying or death, because I don't feel like we truly die. I feel like, all those old sayings when they're like, oh, they're in a better place, or they're still with you, or they're with you in spirit. Like I truly believe that now, and it just put a lot of peace in my mind, on my soul, and hearing that a bunch of other people have had that experience as well. I'm like, okay, so that was my experience. I wanted to share with you guys. I'm sure there'll be other people that reach out to me with their experience or something like that, and maybe we could talk about it. But that's just something I wanted to share and just have documented, so maybe I can show my kids one day and kind of have recorded when it was fresh in my experience so I can remember it properly. I hope you guys enjoyed. That was my outer body experience, and God bless you. Love you all. Have a beautiful rest of the day.